Welcome to the weekday Transit League Race, 4 out of 7. Most of us have just come off the VOR. There's myself, Disco Infidel, Pacific Sea Cow, Monk, and Dingo. And it's been a while since I've raced in the mini transit, except for very short races that I've been able to jump off to. Anyway, we're here with about 30 seconds to go, and I make an attempt to get to the line. I had actually come to the course quite early, but as you can see in this race, it's a lot more technical than it first seems. The reason being is if you look at the speed and the SOG, the speed over ground, we have a huge current in this area, and it's going to allow us to do some drifting, but not until the downwind leg. I hadn't realized that until I got to the turn, and honestly, going down south right now on starboard reach is kind of stupid. If you speed this up, you're going to see that Disco Infidel and Pacific Sea Cow do this much better than I do. I really was struggling with speed and with angles today. They start off behind me. I'm first across the line, but they go northwest and then cut back across. Then they stay more south of me, but you'll notice that they don't do as much tacking as I do. And in normal circumstances, that would be better, obviously, but today it didn't prove to be the case. So we have Disco Infidel just off my starboard side here, and I'm going to get into his wind pretty soon, which is never a good thing, but with this type of racing, the guy in front usually has a little bit of advantage. There we go, into the wind. And you can see that my angle is a lot higher than Disco Infidel. He takes a very good AWA, probably down in 39 or 38, whereas I'm up in 42. And if you keep on watching this and watching the map, you'll notice that he doesn't actually make a turn for a long time. It's just me and Pacific Sea Cow who seem to be battling to get back to the way line. And Disco Infidel, who's down on the south there, just keeps his nose pointed high enough to get a little bit of wind, and well, he does turn there, but it's a fairly rare occasion or occurrence. And once again, he gets, you can see by the ladder, he's well in front of us, even though he's much further south. See, we all look like we're in a line here, but actually he's keeping a really good angle. I'm going too strong into it, and for some reason they can get better boat speed at those lower angles than I can, and it's probably because I haven't set up my sails as well as I should have. So as I'm heading towards the wayline here, you can see that that they're almost still in parallel line to me. When I turn across, Pacific turns across, Disco remains on that path and is definitely in front of us. Yep, definitely in front of us. and still hasn't turned. Just maintains that angle as he does for a long way up. I think he makes one more or two more tacks before the line. So attack to port and attack back to starboard again. I'm not talking about starboard tack and port tack, I'm just saying the direction that they are. And meanwhile, I'm still fiddling around at an AWA of 27, which is a bit too high. And back down to 24 again, which is the angle I seem to like most of the time. I get down to 21 and 22 sometimes, but see now that I'm still losing. Actually, I'm losing more and more as I go. So I'm too high up in the AWA, and this is where the race was basically lost for me. So I wasn't paying attention as I should be. And look at that! I made a little move and then came back again. It's very silly. So at this stage, both Pacific Sea Cow and Disco Infidel are in front of me. Trailing behind, we've got Monk, and who was having technical difficulties. Apparently, he couldn't see any of the course, couldn't see any of the marks, couldn't see any of the map. So that's not very good. And we have Dingo, who is just coming off the VOR and hasn't raced in the Transat Mini League before. And right now you can see that Disco Infidel has really stretched out that lead. And there, finally he makes a attack. Come back down towards the line. I stupidly think about turning as well, which I've just done there. Yeah, I should have kept on going high. Pacific Sea Cow goes across my bow. I'm thinking about going low, but then I realize it's too far away. I come back, the wind angle is okay for me, but I'm still not getting the speed as Disco Infidel goes around. And Pacific Sea Cow is about to make a mistake here. Decides to turn too quickly, doesn't realize that although that seemed to go around, she seemed to go around, but apparently she had to go around twice. So yeah, there she goes around again. So I'm heading off to get my Jenica up, and this is where where I finally notice how bad the current is, because as you'll notice on this downwind leg, I will keep on pointing up and trying to get across the wayline, but can't achieve it. It keeps on slipping away from me, and the same with all of them. If you notice, all of the boats, they're all pointed up, but we all continue to travel along that wayline. So it was quite interesting. This is one of the first races that I've ever encountered this, and if I did it again, I would look at the compromise between speed and slide. So all of us are sliding on past. It's a pretty amazing experience. The speed is not too bad, but constantly higher than the bearing to waypoint. Sometimes slip down a little bit. I think I even jibed at one stage just because I wanted to try and catch up to Disco Infidel. Pacific Sea Cow does do some jibing and does catch me, so maybe that would have been worth the effort. And as you can see in chat, we're all talking about the drift as we fly down back towards the start line again. Just can never seem to catch Disco Infidel. This whole race, he certainly had my measure, and something that I hope to rectify, and I know that Pacific feels the same way. But it's learning to sail in a different way, and that's always fun. As we drift through the start-finish line at an angle. And both of us are a little bit worried about not actually getting up to the next mark. At the same time, I can't seem to catch him. The distance seems to be remaining the same whatever I do. But that's pretty typical with a downwind leg anyway. Unless the other person makes a fatal mistake at the mark. A little bit slow on changing sails or getting the shape right. Pretty hard on a downwind. Although if I was smarter in this scenario, I would have probably stayed a little bit more closer to the way line. And you can see there's only about 0.1 of a nautical mile in it anyway, and I can see his sail up ahead of me. Yeah, and finally, just talking about drifting. And you can see he's pointed much better to the line at the moment, and I'm a little bit higher than him. Just trying to keep in line with that mark, so that when I come down on it, I'm pretty close to it. He seems to be horizontally in line with it. I'm just a little bit higher than it. Losing a little bit of speed there to do that, but then I point back down a little bit so that I can try and make a run at him towards this next mark. The only one that's different from us is Monk up the top there, who decided to go very north and come down on an angle. But as he doesn't know where the mark is anyway, kind of hard for him. As Disco goes around the line, 41.24, and I'm struggling to get there properly. Let's see how well I did with the sails. I don't think I did that well. So I put the Jenica down and put the jib up and then turned. Probably lost me a little bit there, but a good minute or so behind. As we both decide to go on a port tack and get as north as we can. Pacific decides to go south again and crosses the path of Dingo there. And we've got a long struggle up to the furthest mark again, and then back to the middle for the end. Disco said that I was catching him on this leg. I think I did for a little bit, and then I lost contact again at the end. So I was just trying to follow him up at this stage. I probably should have taken a different path, and here I am just trying to do a little tack across, but he counters nearly all of my tacks on the way up, which is good competition sailing, and what I would do as well. But as he is he's higher than me, he's always going to have that slight advantage. And see, he tacks basically at the same time, seeing that I've tacked. Even at 3 times the speed today, it seems a bit glacial. And that slog is around about 2 knots. And gets up to 3 knots at times as well, so kind of amazing current. I tack across again, and he follows. But once again, I'm still not much higher than the way line here. Pacific is down to the south, and trying to catch. I'm trying to trick Disco Infidel here, but he follows again. And I try to start messing around with my AWA just to see if there's an advantage because of these conditions. But not to much avail, I'm afraid. It's all at this stage I still thought I had a chance of catching him, but I make one more big mistake at the final mark, which is coming up in about 10 minutes time. And he turns across. I decide to keep on going a little bit higher this time to see if I can get one little advantage of being higher than him. Finally I take across, and he's still in line with me as he goes across my bow there and turns. So still not finding an advantage. Once you're in front of these races, you get to command them a little bit, but Disco Infidel does a masterclass here in keeping me away, keeping alert to what's going on, and just tactically being in the right place at the right time. So as we go past the start-finish line again, I'm throwing everything at it. That was probably an ill-timed tack. But even against the current, he seems to have my speed. Maybe just 0.1, 0.2 of a knot faster than me, and it's enough. It keeps on drifting in and out of being close, but then at points like this, it feels like on the map that he's just pushing away from me. But then again, if I'm not trimmed up as well as I should be, then that's my fault as well. So while my post commentary seems to be a little bit sanguine, and I'm keep being a little bit pessimistic about the whole thing, during the race I was actually very positive and thought I had a chance. But here we go, and you can see the size of the gap has increased. Even though he's not very far out of eye shot, unless there's map distortion, it just seems to be that we're pretty close. Just talking about getting a mini transit. I'd love to, if I had the money and get someone to ship it over here. And Pacific Sea Cow seems to be catching as well. As I go past the way line here, and come back up again. There's nothing doing, just have to keep up, keep pointing northwest. He says I've gained, but I'm pretty sure I hadn't. I was pretty close the whole way up. And finally turn back across. You can see me having trouble with arse and butt on the text channel. And here we are getting up towards the line, and my final mistake of the day. No, we concertina up to the line, and then this is where we're trying to get that right turn. But once again, the drift is going to kill me, as I did what Pacific did in the first mark. And I can see that Disco Infidel has timed it really, really well. The wind is right. I'm too far south. He's about to turn and drift. And I'm too anxious to get around, and I make that fatal mistake just there. Just there I make that mistake and have to go back up again. And I'm going to make another mistake in a moment because I can see him go past me. And I turn, and I think to myself, right, I can do it. And then, oh no, I've just drifted past it again and had to put my jib back up, go around it, and that was all she wrote. The race was over. As Pacific goes past me, and you're just going to see that I don't actually even touch the boat from this point on. I drifted all the way down the way line without hardly making any adjustments at all. And it's pretty amazing that you can drift at this angle on an 87, 86 degree heading and just go all the way down. Sure, the way line does point in a southeasterly sort of direction, but I'm heading sideways into the line. So with that, Disco Infidel wins. Yeah, I'm just saying here, he's got me. Conceding. Pacific Sea Cow comes in after me, and then Dingo, and then Monk, who was having all kinds of internet technical problems. Mainly because I don't think that his internet connection likes the old server very much. Hopefully the new one will be much better for him. So I'll bid you farewell, and you can watch the end of this race. It's a little bit longer in its recording than usual. But I wanted to document the whole race because it was technically different. So hopefully I'll be back this Wednesday for the Mini Transat League again. I think it's race 5 now. I haven't checked the point system out in a while, but I think that Disco Infidel would be leading at this point. I missed 2 races due to work, so that didn't really help my cause. I think Ben, who is away at the moment, will come back as well, so he'll be trying. And Pacific Sea Cow must be probably in front of me as well, so I think it will be Disco, Pacific, and then me, and then probably Ben. Would be really good to get a few more people into this league. We do have a lot of fun on a Wednesday. I know that it's probably not good for the European contingent, but some of the North Americans might want to find some time on I think it's a Tuesday for you guys, Tuesday night for you guys. It's a Wednesday during the day for me where I'm a little bit free. And as you can see, I'm coming across the line in a sideways sort of manner. And there we go. Finish of the race. Thank you guys. And there I am just talking about what TWA 50 and followed the line all the way home. Alright, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.